ICE, Immigration Custom Enforcement. So this particular department, this agency, uh, do not confuse it with any sort of law enforcement uh, actual duties. They are enforcing immigration laws. They're enforcing actual court decisions, court cases, court orders, uh, removals from the actual country. So for them to actually approach anybody, U.S. citizen or non-U.S. citizen in the United States, with law enforcement authority would be violating your civil rights for the fact that they cannot be associated with actual the word police, and they try to actually come off as law enforcement, and they're not. Uh, they will try to gain access into your place of employment, your actual home, any kind of place where they might be looking for an individual that is in deportation proceedings. So therefore, they will intimidate you, and they will actually come off as law enforcement and with a search warrant, and that will not be the case. Okay, it got so bad that actual a politician was uh, actually not forced to, but he actually put up a bill to uh, ban or to make it actual illegal for ICE to brandish any kind of law enforcement uh, decal. For example, they cannot wear a vest, they cannot wear any kind of jacket, any kind of actual attire associated with ICE that says the word police. I actually did a video a while back regarding a Border Patrol son that actually was harboring his dad. He had made a actual underground bunker underneath his house for the dad to actually just kind of lay low, hide out in case ICE were to come to the actual home. Uh, Again, they had no search warrant to actually gain entrance. They would actually have to be invited in by this Border Patrol agent, and which he did. And unfortunately, they found him hiding at the end. So in this actual bunker. So they have a paper in hand, and I'm pretty sure it's the actual removal of the uh, mentioned person, the person they're looking for. But to actually gain access to a building or to a property, it would be rare. Immigration judge is not going to actually entertain that. It's not that big of a deal, to tell you the truth. And I understand that there are violent actual individuals that actually need to be taken down, but I mean they just have to do old-fashioned, stakeouts. Basically stakeouts. Identify the actual target, and if they actually can actually verify that it is an individual, just let them continue, leave the property, and then light them up. They can pull you over, but they cannot actually enforce any kind of actual law enforcement, actual, how do you say it, what word do I want to use? I guess duties? Yeah, duties. So just be aware, know your rights. If you're ever dealing with any such case, always get legal advice. There's some nonprofit organizations, or you could hire your own immigration lawyer, and it could be challenging sometimes because of the fact that these actual lawyers, they're former prosecutors for the feds, so they know the laws, and they're not going to actually string you along, and they're not going to milk you for your money. They're going to be straightforward, and they're going to be realistic of how your case might be. But do not ever give up, and do not ever give up your rights to be deported. It might sound easy, but in the long run, if you actually challenge it, there's a good chance that you can actually stay here legally. Cash is king, so pay your fines, pay your actual your lawyers. So like I said, cash is king, and you'll have a good chance of actually being successful and actually getting some kind of status here legally. And as for their tactics, they're known to actually conduct unethical tactics. As a matter of fact, there was one case where a hotel, actual hotel chain, it was actually a big hotel chain, was actually handing over names of Latin and Hispanic actual heritage to ICE agents on the back end, you know what I mean? And they got caught, and they were actually giving names of actual guests at these hotels, and you know, they always say, "We'll leave the light on for you." You know what I mean? It was that actual branch. You know what I mean? That actual hotel chain, and they were handing over these lists of names, and you know, all these people are just trying to, you know, get some rest, you know, get cleaned up, get washed up, and unfortunately, they were turned over to ICE, and you know, once they have you, you know what I mean, it is what it is, you know what I mean? You're here illegally. It doesn't matter how they approached you. It doesn't matter how they got their actual information. But I mean, that's how dirty and grimy they can be, you know. And let me tell you, they will stake out your residence. They will actually come to your door. They'll knock just to get a glimpse to see what's going on at the actual home, and snoop around. They'll have a piece of paper in their hand, but it's not a warrant. If you want to let them actually into your property, you can, but you can always refuse. And if that comes into play, seek legal help, even for advice. You know what I mean? Even for advice, you might have your civil rights violated. So there's always nonprofits that are willing to help out for that. And they'll come out with tactics. They'll tell you that your car got hit in the street, and of course you're gonna react. You're gonna go outside to see what's going on with your car, and before you know it, you know, you're in handcuffs, you know, and you fall to their actual their tricks, you know. And one last thing, if you happen to be in a position where one of your relatives, especially your male relatives, could be your dad, your uncle, and your cousin, and they actually have residential alien cards where they could be here, residing here in the United States and working, but they're not citizens, push them to actually get their actual naturalization papers to become citizens. I know life happens real quick, and a lot of these actual situations turn out bad. Life happens, you know, a little fender bender, you had a little couple of beers, or a little actual brawl, somebody accuses you of something. I mean, just by you being in residential, you limit yourself and you cut your actual rights more than half. And some actual crimes are actually punishable by deportation, and they come with a heavy actual how do you say it, prison term in case you try to come back and try to sneak back in. You're looking about anywhere from 5 to 7 years if you try to go that route. So, you know, push your relatives, you know, just, you know, it's not a very hard test, and the test can be actually in your own language. Just keep that in mind, and the sooner the better. You know, like I said, life happens, and unfortunately in the early 90s we started seeing that a lot, because a lot of these prosecutors were actually offering especially males that were actually in for domestic violence, they would just tell them, just sign here, you'll be out in 48 hours. Yeah, they're right. You're right. You were out for 40 hours, but then guess what? Now you're looking at actual immigration charges because you've actually committed a crime, and that's one of your actual uh, rules that you can't break. You know, I mean, you can't be a burden on society, and you can't run amok. You know, so uh, you limit yourself, and just push them to get their citizenship. That's all I can say. And good luck. And if you guys have any questions, just shoot me an email or leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Thanks a lot.